Hello and welcome to Boom Fact Check. 16 countries have high-speed rail. China has 27,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. That's the largest in the world. Japan started it somewhere in 1964 between Tokyo and Osaka. It was much slower then. The big question we're asking is, what does high-speed rail or a bullet train mean in India? How will it work out? Can we afford it? Is it viable? What are the lessons that we've learned from our past as railway men? Our railway people will tell you. The best person, I thought, to answer this question is B Rajaram, former Managing Director of the Konkan Railway Corporation, who too, in his time, set fairly ambitious targets, including for speed of trains on his track. Mr. Rajaram, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for this call. Thank you very much indeed.
So my first question is to sort of set the background straight. Tell us about high-speed rail. What is high-speed rail? When does it become high-speed rail, and how does it work?
You see, up to 180 kilometers and 200 kilometers. Generally, it is a routine business. The tolerances of the rail manufacturer and the effective conicity, that is the angle between the running flange and the rail head, need not be very severely controlled. But once you cross 200 and then 250, 300, it is very important to control the effective conicity. It becomes a more sophisticated control and manufacture of the rail, wheel, and more importantly, braking. This is not difficult to reach a speed. It is how you control and then brake, because braking becomes really serious. And then the electric motors technology, once you reach higher and higher speeds, the kind of controls on the in making a electric motor work requires a better technologies.
Right. So that's
there is a steep learning curve for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's let's say the broad backdrop. So you're saying that in laying tracks for a bullet train in India, we have to take a quantum leap in terms of everything. It's not just the desire to do it, but it's also having the technology, the understanding for tracks, maintenance, signaling, the train itself, which of course we are importing.
That is true, but let me tell you, the physical geometry of tracks, we are quite capable. Almost every country can do it. But the tolerance limits for the rail head manufacture and the rail wheel manufacture, and then maintenance to keep a constant effective conicity value. These are the issues which will come in terms of track. Otherwise, the track side, I think our guys are reasonably quite okay. We have already got a concrete sleepers, elastic fastenings. Those areas are quite, people are quite familiar with them.
So then where lies the challenge?
Challenge lies in the quality of manufacture of rails, wheels, suspension of coaches. Geometry wise, it's okay. I mean, track geometry wise, we can always achieve. We have got those limits already. The manufacture of catenary at higher speeds, lot of brakes take place and flashes take place at the top. But these are all now sorted out. They are, people have become quite experts in these areas.
Right. So
but it's good that we are taking it.
Right. Yeah, okay, I'll come to the good or bad in a moment. But if, as you say, for instance, that we maybe the track part of the equation we've sorted out, we've got it sorted out, but there are so many other aspects. Now, are we in a position to, so do we have to go and learn all of this, or do we bring in people who will do this? And then what happens when the track actually starts functioning?
You want a frank one or a politically right opinion?
A frank one.
Look, Govind, I always believe that Indian engineers and industry have been ready 10 years ago to make their own high-speed train. It is not difficult, actually. It is not a rocket science, really.
Mm-hmm.
But the matters of getting out of the tenderpreneurs concept, we are very good in promoting tenders. Off the shelf, you just buy and use it. No one is accountable or responsible. A technology development takes a little more effort,
Mm-hmm.
and application of mind. So in these areas, we have been not giving leadership. That's why we have lagged behind. Okay, be that as it may, let us get the product at least, and let us try to copy it. At least copying gives a faster way of technology absorption. If you don't do it even today, the finer points of railway technology, entire Indian engineers are missing. They could have done it themselves. Not that they cannot do it, but unfortunately, that route is not working because no leadership.
Okay, let me ask you a slightly different question then. Do we need it? I know this question is posed repeatedly, but from your perspective, do we need high-speed rail in this form and in the manner of the project that we are seeing here?
Look, every single step has got a question marks. We need or we don't need. But world is already moved ahead. China has started at a much backward than us, and today they are leaders in the high-speed trains. And I know how the Chinese engineers have worked, because their papers they went on publishing in American Society of Civil Engineers. I was reviewing them from the editorial board. So the commitment of absorbing technology is something which India should learn. This opportunity should be taken by the IITs and universities to absorb the technology and develop the next generation bullet train. Don't go again for tendering and procuring high-speed technology.
Right. So let me ask.
That's the only opportunity.
Right. So let me ask you from your own experience in Konkan Railway, for instance, that was a standalone project that had to be financed independently. Now this project too is being financed independently. Do you see any parallels? I mean, though that was small and this is giant, in at least in scope of in the sheer financial cost and scale. Are there any lessons that you would like to highlight?
Yeah, I'm glad they have adopted a similar model in this also, and we should be thankful to Japan for giving such a soft term, much better than my own bonds guarantee with a letter of comfort which I had to raise with a high interest rate. Almost 30% became the capital cost was the interest burden. In this case, after 15 years, it is Maharashtra and Gujarat who will bear the brunt of paying it back. The way our economy is developing, I feel that it may not be very difficult for these two states which are most most advanced economically, and they are doing very well in business.
Right.
These states can pay back this money, I feel.
Right. So that's you know, I mean, Konkan Railway did run into a lot of financial problems. So I mean, so you say that one is of course the high interest cost at that time, which is more than 20 years ago. But what are the other lessons? You know, so Konkan Railway also tried to, you know, bring in higher speed rail. You had obstacles in doing that. You had a lot of infrastructure problems because the rail track was constantly, you know, facing, problems with the local ecology. I'm sure there are many lessons like that. What would be the key ones in your mind?
Konkan Railway has got a natural problems of unstable formation. Fortunately, the area which they have chosen doesn't have that kind of geographical problems, excepting for the 21 kilometers of undersea tunnel. That is challenging work, but it's a feasible work because Japan has done a lot of undersea tunneling. They have got a lot of experience, and our boys also are now well experienced. My own experience of introducing high speed was for those conditions is quite bold, because I ran the train at 180 kilometers per hour. Okay, the attitudes are different. India was trying to get dragged by their own bureaucracy, because bureaucracy always they just don't want a change. It's a problem. For so day to day, have a breakfast, have lunch, go back. So nice way of living.
Right. Okay. So let me, so you talked about the 180 kilometers per hour, and here of course we are going to go over 300 kilometers. Between this world, that world of, let's say, pushing what your existing infrastructure versus setting up a new one, what's the way forward for India? I mean, this is a slightly larger question. So should we now build far more, like China has done, high-speed rail, and create a new system which also becomes an island of some sort?
Yeah, these two cannot be mixed. But I am happy that Shri Narendra Modi agreed with my proposal that the future should be based on India's own advanced high speed, much better than bullet train, because even bullet train can derail. By design, it is not it is not derailment proof. So whereas India has got that Skybus concept which I presented in Paris, for 360 kilometers per hour speed also we can design it, because it's the same elements of bullet train, the bogie going up into the box, coach hanging below, that's all, and the moving block system, and we can carry as much traffic as well as containers. I mean, we can move even a freight traffic in that system.
Right.
So he has agreed and approved for appointment of a high-speed empowered board to develop this technology for India. That is a very highly visionary aspect.
Right.
Like Vajpayee did for Skybus in those days.
Right.
I hope this takes off.
Right. Okay. So last question, you're aware of the finances of the bullet train, as we know it now, between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. It's a 110,000 crore project. 88,000 crore will come from the Japanese government at 0.1%. And the past where we've struggled in many ways to set up large projects in railways or even outside in infrastructure. Is this something that is going to be viable, because so let's say the technology part we get right, as your point taken, that we have the capability, we have the engineering skills to build and even get better. But if you look at the example of Taiwan, for example, which built a $13 billion or $14 billion project, it ran into a lot of financial difficulties because times changed, there was exchange fluctuation, which could happen in India. There were all kinds of other problems which made the project itself unviable.
Yeah, see, the life doesn't come without any risk, but it should be manageable risk. Looking at India, I feel India is a rising power in terms of economy, and it should it is capable of taking this type of risk. And compared to Taiwan, our country is very large, and it is a huge system. I mean, it's not a country to be trifled around. And their intellectual capability is very high. The day it is really liberated from the bureaucratic kind of shackles, nobody can stop India.
Right, and one absolutely last question, Mr. Rajaram. So, if you were to ensure viability or continued viability of this project, should we be quickly taking it to other centers as well, from your perspective as a railway man again?
Do I understand you that you want to see viability in terms of only the finances, or?
Yeah, financial or even otherwise, and should we be quickly expanding this network, or otherwise, will it remain just a Mumbai, Ahmedabad?
I don't know. I'm not in the loop actually, but what I know from the news is other routes also, some surveys have been given to other countries, and other high-speed train capable of countries come and forward and do it for you. We should not feel shy of getting the support from them, but be always clear that we should learn to rule later on, not become dependent.
Right, right. Mr. Rajaram, that's a good note to end on. Thank you so much for speaking with us and sharing your thoughts and experiences.
Thank you, Govind. Nice to talk to you again after long years.
Thank you so much. Well, that's all we have time for on Boom Fact Check on this episode. We'll be back very soon. Stay tuned for our next one. Thanks for watching.